and for me. And at the end of the speakers, we're going to have a Q&A session. So at that time, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We'll go through the box that was in the back, and we will make sure that everybody's questions get answered. We can go, tentatively, we're going till 8:30, but if we have a lot of questions, we'll go ahead and go until 9. We asked pretty please, and they said yes. So there are some more seats. If anybody wants to come and take some seats, please do, because we just want you to be comfortable and learn. So without further ado, I want to ask Commissioner Cook to please come up, and he's going to lead us in our pledge and a prayer tonight.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Lord, we thank you for a wonderful day, Lord. We thank you for all your blessings that you bestow upon us. We ask that you watch over this group and help us make the right decisions and hear the right stuff that we all need to hear. We ask that you take us home safely tonight and bless everyone here. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Mr. Cook. As people come in, we do have a few more seats here in the front. If you want to filter up here to the front, feel free. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and just jump right in instead of having a whole bunch of dilly-dally in the front. And I would like to I'm so happy to welcome our current Agriculture Commissioner, Mr. Sid Miller, up to the stage. Thank you so much, Mr. Miller.
Wow, we're going to get right to it.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank y'all for coming out tonight. I was asking our host, I said, you know, what do you want me to talk about exactly tonight? And she said, well, why don't you talk about 20 minutes? That's it. So when I get to 20 minutes, someone kind of give me the high side, and because we've got 3 other good speakers for you tonight. I am Commissioner Sid Miller. I'm a statewide elected official. I'm your agriculture commissioner. So I guess there's been a lot of noise on social media about me coming to this event. I agreed to come to this event quite a few weeks ago. And the turmoil is I'm here with the Democrat that's running, Clayton Tucker, for Ag Commissioner. Well, let me tell you what I think about that. You know, when I served in the legislature, I was in the minority as a Republican. When I first came in, we had a Democrat speaker and a Democrat majority in the Texas House. And the only way that I could get anything done is working with the Democrats in a bipartisan manner. And in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with being bipartisan, working towards the same goal. We need more of that, actually. We need more bipartisanship and less vitriol. So, I'm just going to say that this is not really a red issue or a blue issue. It's not a Republican issue. It's not a Democrat issue. This is one of those red, white, and blue issues about protecting our communities. So, here's the problem we have. Well, we got lots of problems with data centers. And I will say that I'm kind of charging the hill, looking back over my shoulder, and there's no other statewide elected officials charging the hill with me. And there's a reason for that. Most of their campaigns this last primary election were funded by the data center people. Greg Abbott took millions and millions of dollars from the data center, his largest donors. He's given $1.3 billion worth of tax breaks. My opponent in the primary, his largest single contributor was a data center guy. So most of them have been bought and paid for. I've never subscribed to that. I've always done what I thought was right. I've always done what I thought was right, no matter what the cost. And it cost me the election. But I sleep good at night knowing I did what I thought was right. and I was never bought off. So we've got a problem. The first problem, where are we gonna get all the water for these plants? How are we gonna cool the generators? How much are they gonna use? Well, right now, there is 480 applied or approved permits with ERCOT to tie onto the grid. The total amount of electricity that those 480 permits will use is 418 gigawatts. I don't know what a gigawatt is, but that's, I'll put it in perspective. The most we ever use in one single day, and that's for a daily use, 418 gigawatts. The most we ever used was in the summer of 2023. The highest peak was 85.8 gigawatts. So they're gonna use 5 times our largest capacity in our most trying times. We can't do that. You don't have to be a mathematician to figure out, we don't have 418 gigawatts, it's the most we almost blacked out. If we'd had any more, we'd have had rolling blackouts. So that's a huge concern. You know, where is that electricity gonna come from? Well, there are some possibilities, but they're not here yet. There is something called SMRs. That's a small modular reactor. They're nuclear reactors. We've been using something similar to those on our nuclear submarines and aircraft carriers for about 60 years, and we haven't had any accidents. These are much safer, and what's good about them, you can put them in tandem, and they can actually produce more electricity than they need and put power back on the grid and lower our electric rates. And they go underground, so there's no light pollution or noise pollution. So that would be the best, but we're not there yet. Those are at least a year off. So that's one of the reasons. About a month ago, I called on the governor to issue an executive order for a moratorium. Let's just take a pause, at least 12 months, longer, and let's get all of our questions answered that we don't have answered. Where's the water gonna come from? Where's the electricity gonna come from? Are they gonna use our groundwater? They use our surface water? What happens to the water that they do use? How are we gonna clean it up? It's gonna be polluted. Does it have PFAS in it? There's all these questions. How many data centers are there gonna be? How many acres are they gonna take up? Right now, by my calculations, it's somewhere between 250,000 and 500,000 acres of our most fertile farm ground. So, I've called for the moratorium. Abbott will never do it because, you know, he's so indebted to the data center field. He did come out and he's feeling a lot of heat, like people from you in this room, and give a directive to ERCOT, that's our grid operators, that they're not to, you know, have electricity rates go up because of data centers online. And by the way, while we're at it, we can throw crypto mines in this category, and we can throw in solar farms. They're all included in my proposal. So we got the moratorium. Now, about 6 months ago, I was very disturbed that most of these data centers were building on our most fertile farm ground, taking it out of production. There's a problem with that. Once you take that out of production, we'll never farm it again. We are already, first time in our lifetime, and you can thank the previous administration left us this problem. We have a $50 billion agriculture trade deficit. One of our largest exports has always been agriculture. Let me put this in more simple terms. We're buying $50 billion more food than we're exporting. That means we are now dependent on foreign nations to feed us. That is the most dangerous position that a country can be in. So that needs to change, and we're working on that in my agency. I have 48 international trade missions planned. I've got groups overseas now. Some of those are inbound, some of them are outbound, about half and half. And we've reduced that down to about 15 billion. So we're getting close back to the balance, but we need to be net positive like we were before. So we've got the electric problem. we've got the land problem, and now, we've got a water problem. Where is all this water gonna come from? We're out of water. We have been out of water. Two sources of water in the state: surface water and groundwater. Ever since the inception of Texas, the state of Texas has owned all the surface water. They always have. That's not something new. We manage that through river authorities. So we have the Colorado River Authority, the Trinity, the Brazos, so on and so on. And they allocate the water in the surface water in those river sheds. The problem is, it's all allocated. Y'all know very well, especially if you're a rice farmer, that you have guaranteed water, then you have interruptible water. Well, about 3 out of the last 5 years, our rice farmers got no water, because we could interrupt them. Our rice industry in this part of the state has gone from 600,000 acres down to about 100. It's simply because of lack of water. We've been out of water. These data centers are gonna take a lot of water, a lot of water. So, kind of like the electricity, there's something in the future that would solve that, but it's not here yet. That's another reason we need a pause. There's something we've never been able to tap into. Deep in the earth, core of the earth, is called deep earth water. And it's under pressure, like oil and gas. And it tries to make its way to the surface. And it'll find a crack or fissure in the earth and try to make its way to the top. If you ever hit one of these, you have something called an artesian well. It just shoots out of the ground. I like to call it Genesis water, because in Genesis it talks about this water. It says, and the earth opened up and the water came forth and flooded the land. Well, that was deep earth water, and it's pure. It's never seen the atmosphere. It's never been contaminated. It's great. Well, we are almost there with the technology to find this water, these little cracks and fissures. We can't drill to the center of the earth. It's not economical. But we can find these fingers that are within 300 feet, 500 feet, 1,000 feet of the surface. We do that with MRI technology. And the way that works, it slices the earth like photographs like this. So we can get it in little thin slices, all the way down probably 1,000, 1,500 feet. And then we can find these, and with a 95% accuracy, we can drill into this deep earth water. And that would be a new source of water. It will revolutionize our state. We will be able to grow Pecos cantaloupes again when we don't have any water. We'll be able to farm rice. We can bring those all 600,000 acres back once we tap into that. We can bring our sugarcane industry back that has left our state forever. But we're not there yet. So another reason we need to take a pause. There's just so many things, and I'm probably about to run out of my time. But we just got to stop. There's absolutely no guardrails. They like to build in the county. They don't like to build in the city limits because they have to ordinances and building codes and all this other stuff. If you build in the county, Texas, and this is one reason they come to Texas. In Texas, we do not give our counties ordinance making authority. So they can't stop them. They can't tell them where to build. They can't tell them how much water to use. There's no guidelines, there's no regulations, there's no oversight, none. So with a year's pause, that would at least give the state legislature and Congress time to address this issue, because it's paramount that we get on top of this before we lose the lifestyle that we have in our community. With that, I'll take questions, but I think we're going to wait till all the speakers get through, and I'm going to stay around, even though today is my 49th wedding anniversary, and my wife is waiting for me at home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Miller. We appreciate you coming. And happy anniversary. Please tell your wife, thank you for letting us borrow you. I want to ask Donna Howard to come up. Oh. Okay. Our next speaker tonight is going to be Mr. Clayton Tucker. And I'd like to invite you to come on up, Mr. Tucker. Thank you so much for being here.
Howdy! If you can't tell, I noise goat, so I yell a lot. So thank you all so much for being here. This is incredibly important what you're doing. Because as Commissioner Miller mentioned, there's a lot of organized money on these data center side. But there's good news here. The one thing that can beat organized money is organized people, and that is what this looks like. So I want to talk a little bit about data centers. I'm becoming a walking encyclopedia about them. And then I will happily answer questions. I'll be around, and I'll do a quick wrap-up story of why I do have hope that we Texans can come together to defeat this. So let's talk data centers. These things are water hogs. I'm talking massive amounts of water. And we're already running out of water in this state. Corpus Christi is running out of water. They're planning to build 3 data centers there for some reason. And you got it through the Panhandle, you got it here, you just got it everywhere. And the thing is, they don't have to be using water. I mean, they'll say things like closed loop this or open loop that. A lot of that is a distraction. These really small data centers, like the ones that can fit in the size of this room, yes, you can have a closed loop. That is theoretically possible. But for the ones that are for AI, these massive, huge, mega monstrosities, closed loop systems are basically impossible. Creates too much heat. You have to drain it. What some do, they'll have one loop that is closed and another loop that is completely open. Or the closed loop system uses maybe 25 to 30% more electricity. And guess what? If that electricity comes from coal or natural gas, which it almost all does, that uses a lot of water. Now, it doesn't have to be that way, actually. And this is one of the things that we are going to be fighting for really, really toughly, is you don't have to use water at all. You can have a water-free data center. You can actually use a plant-based oil. From what I've been reading, hemp oil actually might be the very best thing. So one thing I'm going to want to mandate is that if there's any data center, both the ones that are existing and the new ones, hopefully we can stop them all. I'm pro full moratorium, pause all of it, that they use hemp oil, and that hemp oil is farmed by local farmers. So it's build that local economy. Let's talk about power. These things use powers of entire cities. So we are really, in effect, building entire new cities. Like the one up in Amarillo, that is about 4 City of Austins. The one in Abilene, that is Seattle. The one in Leon County, that is, if I remember right, 1 to 1.5 Austins. Like that is how much power we're building, and this is going to cause mass inflation. Because yeah, they'll say, oh, we're building our own power plants. Well, guess what? Elon Musk built a data center in 120 days. What kind of power plant can you build in 120 days? You can't. It's just not possible. So what they do is they throw up a bunch of diesel or methane generators and they pollute the local atmosphere, releasing all those toxins literally next to neighborhoods, literally next to farms. And oftentimes, even if they do pay for the power plant themselves, they don't pay for the connections, those lines. You know those 765 lines cutting across Texas, scarring our land? Those lines are going to be on your power bill. Your power bill might go up $100, $200 a month just because of those lines. Even if you live nowhere near them. Yet they are forcing all of us in this room to pay for those lines. Now let's talk about some other things. And this is where I start getting a little bit more concerned. The heat and the noise. These things can create heat islands, little heat bubbles, where temperatures can be 4 to 16 degrees hotter. Let me ask you something. Does it get hot in Texas? Particularly during the summer? What is that going to do to our crops? What is it going to do to our milo, to our soy, to our corn, to rice? What is that going to do to our trees? Like, let's not even think about it just in crops. What's that going to do to our plants? What's that going to do to our health when a 100-degree day suddenly becomes a 120-degree day? And then there's the noise. Y'all, these things can create serious noise. And it's both the noise you can hear, but also the noise you can feel. So I talked to one guy, just north of Dallas. He actually lives next to one of those battery facilities, the BESS, as they call them. And those create noise too, not as much noise as the data centers, that's like a whole new level. But that BESS system, which was created right across from his farmland right across from his fence. And he was telling me he worked all his life to get that farm. He was so proud of it. And then they built that facility, and his cows started having stillbirths. The next year, all stillbirths again. And it happened again and again, and not a new single calf. And then he had to sell them. Couldn't make it. But those things also take property values. So he actually lost $100,000 in that deal. They don't also tell you that when they build those things, your property values are going to plummet. Because that noise travels super duper far. I've heard stories where chickens lay 50% less eggs, where cattle, goats, and sheep lose 30% of their body condition. I've heard of it affecting kids. They're doing a study up in, I believe, New Jersey, where they're showing early signs that they could be causing heart murmurs in children. That the sleep, it can really, like the lack of sleep, is that noise, you can feel it. It's both the subvibration is causing heart attacks in adults. I've heard somewhere that it causes early onset dementia in some folks. And even if, like we later on scientifically prove, not all this is 100%, like the correlation isn't fully there, we don't send someone to prison if there's reasonable doubt that they're innocent. We have major reasonable doubt that these things are safe, so they shouldn't be built until they can prove that they're okay. So those are, of course, the resource concerns. There's also the whole host of use concerns that I'm also getting more concerned about, because if you look at what Palantir is doing, buying up all of our data, you know, what's going to go on there. So I don't want these to be used for mass surveillance. I don't want this to be used in the jobs of my generation away, automating all those, or the jobs of your kids or grandkids, or my kids or grandkids, until we have an actual plan. Which is why, I stand here with the commissioner as one of the very few candidates, frankly, from either side of the party, or either side of the aisle, who just wants a straight up moratorium. Just a full on, pause everything, let's really figure this out. Let's follow the money, let's figure out what's going on. Why are you doing this? Why are you messing up with our Texas? Because we're all for economic development. Look, like rural Texas, rural America has been in an economic death spiral for decades. We all know it. I live in Lampasas. If you're not quite sure where that is, if you can find the center of Texas, you can find Lampasas. We're equally far from everywhere else. And I'm the secretary of the Texas Farmers Union, one of the few farm groups that has called for a full moratorium on these data centers until certain conditions are met, like no water, better power, and don't stick them on our farmland, find an abandoned warehouse in the city and throw them in there. And so, we have to protect our rural folks. We have to protect all Texans, because at the end of the day, I believe all Texans really just want the same thing. We want the right to quiet enjoyment of our property, doing what we love with those we love for as long as God given us time on this earth. But then you got these elite folks, these greedy few, whether you call them the robber barons, the tech barons, the oligarchs, the billionaires, they're mostly all the same. And they use their bots, they use their propaganda, and they use their algorithms to get us to fight each other. Get us going left versus right, city versus country. And as they fight each other, they can pluck the wings of the American eagle to feather their own nest. That's what's going on, in my opinion. And this is the good news, is that none of this is really new. We have been here before. It was called the First Gilded Age. And this is the thing, it was actually Texans, particularly Texas populists, that defeated the First Gilded Age. And it united Texans of all stripes. It united the left and the right of the era. It united the rural Texans and the city Texans. It united all of them to fight those who were really coming for us, coming to pillage our government, coming to pillage our land, take our water, take our resources, and those folks told them no. And by them fighting, they created the middle class that we enjoy today. We have done this before. History may not repeat, but it is certainly rhyming right now. And we will do it again, so long as we stay together, so long as if we remember that only organized people can beat organized money. So long as we continue doing this, and I'm going to have asked for all y'all. I'm going to need y'all to talk to your neighbors, to talk to your friends, to let folks know about this issue. Because I guarantee you, there is a lot of propaganda. Oh boy, is there a lot of propaganda. But neighbors talking to neighbors is the best solution to propaganda. Friends talking to friends. So if I have anything to plead to you tonight, is please talk to your friends, please talk to your neighbors, talk to your coworkers. If you like to, go get breakfast at the local country store, talk to folks there. Because only when we work together can we defeat those who are coming to take everything that is rightfully ours. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clayton Tucker. We're gonna keep on trucking with our agenda tonight. So next is gonna be Mr. Mike Rice. If, I don't know if you need this. I'm sorry. Thank you, gentlemen.
Well, I haven't started talking yet. Thank you. Alright, I'm going to do my best to keep the slides up to date, but it may or may not work out that well. My name is Michael Rice. Let's see here. I want to start by telling you what it is I do for a living. I want to start by telling you what it is I do for a living, because it's one of the reasons that your organizers asked me to come down here. I'm a principal systems engineer. For more than 20 years, I've worked in code, networking, and in data center architecture. And my job, the thing I do every single day, is to build and automate the infrastructure that makes these facilities run. The bare metal, the machinery underneath. And I want to be clear about one thing up front. I'm here on my own, speaking only for myself, not for my employer, and not for the industry. So I'm not here as somebody who read an article about this stuff last week. I'm here as somebody who builds this stuff for a living. But there's a second reason that they asked me to come, and tonight it's the more important one. I'm also a rural Texan. I live up in Leon County. And this fight landed on my doorstep just last fall in late October, about 7 or 8 months ago. And I found myself standing on the other side of the fence from the very industry I work in. There we go. So I've seen both sides, how these things work on the inside and what it feels like to sit in a county meeting and try and be heard, because I'm still in that fight right now. Before I move on, one word about the letter your organizers sent me. The hardest line in it wasn't about noise, it wasn't about water, and it wasn't about fire. It was 4 words. Many still feel unheard. I read that 3 or 4 times because I know that feeling. So let me say it plainly. I believe you. You're not anti-progress, and you're not invisible. But here's the main thing I want you to leave with tonight. You can't fight what you can't name. So let's name it. Let me show you what's actually coming. When most of us hear a data center, I think we can kind of picture something, maybe some of us picture something harmless. Cool little room at the back of the bank with a few blinking servers, computer closet down the hall at the office, maybe even a warehouse on the outskirts of town. And for about 30 years, that's about what a data center was. Back room, drive past it, never even know it was there. But what's being proposed now is not that. It's not even close. A hyperscale AI or crypto facility is not an office with some computers in it. It's an industrial plant that happens to be full of computers. Think less back room and more of a refinery. It runs flat out, day and night, it never closes, and it has the appetite of a factory. How big of an appetite? Let me make it concrete, because this is the exact hardware I work with. Take one of the new AI server racks into these buildings. It's a Dell cabinet built on NVIDIA's latest Blackwell chips. One rack is about the footprint of 2 refrigerators standing side by side. The spec sheet lists its power shelves at 33 kilowatts apiece, and a full rack runs 4 to 6 of those. So we can just call that 130 kilowatts, full tilt around the clock. Now, the average Texas home runs on about 1.5 kilowatts at any given time. And we use more than most of the country because of all the air conditioning we have to run. So do the math with me. One rack, 2 refrigerators worth of space, eats the electricity of roughly 90 homes. A whole entire neighborhood, running inside one cabinet, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, line up enough of those to fill up a 10 megawatt crypto site, and you're pulling the power of just about every home in Bay City at one site. And that 500 megawatt deal Google just signed for Matagora's power, that's enough electricity to run every home in this entire county roughly 24 times over. And to keep all these computers from cooking themselves, many of them drink water for cooling, a small town's worth every single day, in a state where water is already the whole ballgame. Now you'll hear 2 words thrown around, crypto and AI. So here's the simple difference. Crypto mining is rooms full of machines running full out around the clock to win what amounts to a digital lottery. AI is training and running those big computer models everyone's talking about. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. The same enormous hunger for power and for cooling, it's just a different rhythm. Now, for folks who might be here who work in this industry with that stuff, yes, I am definitely simplifying. The load profiles are different. But for everybody else, here's what you really need to carry out of this room. Whether it's crypto or whether it's AI, it's an industrial scale power, heat, and noise on a scale this county has never zoned for and has never had a reason to. And if any of this feels far off, let me bring it home because it's already happening here. And the scale has jumped. This spring, a developer called Linear Energy signed a 15-year deal with Google. Yes, that Google. To sell 500 megawatts of power from a solar project right here in Matagorda County. 3,500 acres to help run Google's data centers. 500 megawatts. The crypto sites you've been worried about are 10 each. This is 50 times that. And sitting right beside it, already under construction, is a battery storage facility, a BESS, rated at 235 megawatts. So when I tell you a BESS is coming to a county like this, I'm not describing a maybe. The ground is already broken. Matagorda isn't just being asked to host a couple of crypto sheds. It's being wired to power the data center boom for one of the biggest companies on earth. And to store that power in exactly the kind of battery field I'm about to walk you through. So that's what's coming. Now, who's this story actually about? Because it's not about me, it's not about the commissioners, it's not about ERCOT, and it's not about the company. It's about you. People who chose this county on purpose and who simply want to say, and what gets built next to their homes. That's not radical, it's the most normal thing in the world. But you've run into something, and it deserves a name. You go to the county says ERCOT controls the grid. You go to ERCOT, they say the local government handles local concerns. So you go back to the county, they say they don't have zoning authority. Go talk to the fire marshal. What about water? That's another agency. Environment? That's another one. Round and round and round you go. And here's the trick, at the center of it, there's no one standing in the middle. Nobody whose job it is to look at all of this together, the water, the fire, the noise, the school, and say, hey, this one's mine. This is mine to decide. That's the villain in this story. It's not a person, it's a pattern. The runaround built so no single decision maker ever has to face you. And it does something cruel. It makes you feel like you're the problem, but you're not. Now I have to talk to you about one more thing, because it's coming for every single rural county in Texas. And I got way behind on my slides, sorry. Just leave it. But anyway, it's coming for every single rural county in Texas, and most people haven't heard very much about it. It's the BESS, B-E-S-S, and it stands for Battery Energy Storage System. Here's what it is, plainly. Picture a row of shipping containers sitting out in the field. Inside each one, packed in tight, are several thousand, there's thousands of big versions of the very same lithium battery that's in your cell phone or your cordless drill. Together, they store electricity for the grid, hand it back when the grid runs short. And the pitch, on paper, sounds like a reasonable idea. But here's the part that doesn't make it into the ribbon cutting. Lithium batteries can do something called thermal runaway. It means one cell overheats. Maybe it's a manufacturing defect. Maybe it's just a brutally hot day. Maybe it had a bad charge. Whatever it is, maybe it catches fire. And that fire heats the cell packed right up against it, which heats the next cell right up against it, and a chain reaction happens inside of a sealed steel box. And here's the kicker, the part that keeps the rural fire chiefs up at night. You can't really put it out. Water doesn't do the job. It can actually make it worse. So the fire service ends up doing the only thing it safely can. Pull everybody back and let it burn. That can take hours, days, or even weeks. And the smoke coming off of it isn't wood smoke. It carries hydrogen fluoride and many other toxic gases you don't want drifting towards a neighborhood or a school. And that word school, it's not an accident. In my county, the battery project called Project Kayla that's being proposed is less than 2 miles from where our kids go to school, pre-K through 12th grade. And it's only one of several now lined up in our county. Here, the Black Cat project sits near a school and a hospital. That keeps happening for a boring reason, because the flat, cheap land near a substation tends to be exactly where towns already built their schools and their homes. So look at what that means in Matagorda County. Black Cat, 10 megawatts. Cryptocurrency, about 5 shipping containers running generators near a school and a hospital. Near children for whom a constant low hum isn't a nuisance. It's a wound that never closes. And who answers if something goes wrong? Let me start where the experts start, with the codes, because the standards actually do exist. There's a National Fire Code written specifically for battery storage, NFPA 855. And there's another one for protecting the data center equipment itself, NFPA 75. So this isn't some danger nobody ever thought about. The problem isn't the absence of a standard. The problem is who's left to meet it. You have a fire marshal, one. He's told you himself he's a one-man show. So he's supposed to be inspecting all the public buildings in the county and then also enforcing these fire codes on these systems. And behind him, like most of rural Texas, a great deal of your fire protection is volunteer. Neighbors who show up with day jobs out of the love for their homes. I want to be careful about how I say this, because those folks are heroes. But a lithium battery fire that water makes worse, that burns for days and puts off toxic gas, or a large-scale data center incident, that's not the fire the volunteers signed up for. And it's not the fire the truck was built for. So ask it honestly. Who responds? With what equipment? With what training? Because a code on paper only protects you if somebody has the people and the gear to meet it. And then the question nobody wants to catch. What if the project simply fails? Crypto is not famous for its stability. If the company walks away, who tears down the steel? Who cleans the ground? Is there a bond? Does the bill land on you? Those are not the questions of people who hate progress. Those are the questions of good stewards. Now, the part your organizers actually asked me here for. How we fought back at home and what mattered the most. And I'll be straight with you, because the first rule we live by is be right or be quiet. We have not won. Our fight is still going, and right now it feels like we're losing ground. More projects keep showing up and they keep coming. So I'm not selling you a victory. I'm handing you what we learned the hard way. A few months ahead of you on the same road, so you don't lose the time that we've lost. And the biggest lesson so far is this. What's kept us standing isn't the loudest. It isn't being the loudest. It's being the most organized. 3 things have mattered more than everything else. First, become the information. When we started, our information lived on Facebook. It was scattered, it was buried by the algorithm, and it was gone in a day. So we built one place that held everything. Every meeting date, every document, plain language explainers, so that a busy parent can understand a filing in 5 minutes. We call it Know Leon County, K-N-O-W. There's no login, there's no algorithm, there's no gatekeeper. And when you become the single most informed people in the room, the runaround stops working. Because now you can say, actually, here's the filing, here's the date, and here's what it says. Second, if you remember one thing I say tonight, make it this one. Your credibility is the entire game. The very first time you get caught exaggerating, the first time you round a number up or you repeat a rumor that you didn't check out, they get to dismiss every true thing you will ever say after that. So we made ourselves a rule. We were right or we were quiet. We checked it before we said it. Accuracy beats outrage every time. And right next to that, tone. We disagreed with being, we disagreed without being disagreeable. We made ourselves the calmest, best prepared, most courteous people in the room. Because it's very hard to dismiss someone who is unfailingly polite and completely correct. A binder beats a shout. Third, build the record and show up as one. One angry person at a microphone is easy to wait out. 100 organized neighbors who keep coming back, who keep filing the records requests, who read the ERCOT filings and take the ownership paperwork, who ask the unglamorous questions about bonds, decommissioning, and fire response. That is a force. We started a nonprofit so that the work didn't rest on any one person's shoulders. It's called Citizens for Responsible Growth. Not against everything, but for doing things right. And we're aiming higher than our own county line. Some of these questions are simply too big for one commissioner's court. They're state-sized, which is exactly why a statewide pause, a moratorium to study the cumulative impact before rural Texas gets overrun, is not anti-business. It's the most conservative idea there is. Measure twice, cut once. And if there are any commissioners or county leaders here tonight, anyone with a vote on a tax abatement, let me speak to you for just a minute, neighbor to neighbor. I don't think you're the villains. I think most people who run for county office do it to serve the place that they're from. But I'd ask that you think about one thing, your legacy. A tax abatement is temporary, 10 years, maybe 20. The things people in this room are worried about don't run on that clock. Water doesn't, contamination doesn't. So picture the version that doesn't go the way you were promised. The aquifer gets drawn down. There's a leak in the ground. The noise that never stops. One nuisance lawsuit that becomes hundreds. In that version, the company's gone. The consultants are gone. And your name is still on the vote. The only thing this community remembers about your time in office is that you were the one who let it happen. That's not a legacy anybody runs for office hoping to leave. And here's the grace in it. You don't have to gamble on it. The careful path, the let's slow down and get the questions answered first path is not the anti-growth path. It's the legacy protecting path. Caution is simply how you make sure the thing people remember is that you got it right. So here's what I'm asking. This week, not someday, just the first thing, pick one place to put the truth. A shared folder, a shared calendar, that's more than enough to at least get started. And become the people who know. Then bring 2 neighbors who aren't here tonight. That's the whole first move. Because there are really only 2 futures here. They're up on the screen. They're not, because I got so far behind, sorry. In one, everyone stays tired. The room empties out, and the hum starts next to that school, and it never stops. In the other, you're the best informed, hardest to ignore community in rural Texas. And whatever gets built with your fingerprints on it. Not because someone handed you a voice, but because you built one that couldn't be turned off. You came here tonight for validation that your concerns are reasonable, lawful, and worth taking serious. So let me give it to you. As somebody who builds these things for a living, and who is fighting one at home. Your right to ask, your right to keep asking, and you were never the problem. You are not invisible. You never were. You just hadn't been seen together yet. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. Next, I want to, Mr. Kenneth, I need to apologize to you. My dyslexia will not let me say your name correctly. Shush. Sir, you're gonna have to whisper that in my ear. Schusterite, Kenneth Schusterite. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. He's a water advocate from Victoria, Texas, here to give us a little bit of information about what we need to do as well owners to prepare for what's potentially coming.
Well, I never thought I'd ever be doing this again. My name is Kenneth Schusterite. I'm from Victoria. Up until, I don't know, a few years ago, I was the loudest mouth in the entire county. This guy right here is my new hero. I started Water Research Group back in 2000 over the Groundwater Conservation District they proposed in Victoria. It was a bad deal. I got us a better deal, but I learned really quickly that the Groundwater Conservation District, your Groundwater Conservation District, is there to do one thing: manage depletion. It's not there to conserve your water. It's there to manage your depletion. I don't care if there are Groundwater Conservation District members in this crowd tonight. You know it's your job to manage depletion. Unless you can stop transport of water out of your county, it's your job to manage depletion. Now what I want to get across to you tonight, one of the things, is that everybody in this room that has a well, turn this back on them. The Water Conservation District really can't do anything to help you, except they can keep your records. Everybody this week, go to your county health department. Get a well test kit. Most counties have a well test kit. Follow the instructions. Take it back. Let them analyze it. Probably cost you 15 or 20 bucks. Then take those results and file them with your Water Conservation District. Keep a copy for yourself. File another copy with your family lawyer. That way, if this monstrosity they have planned messes up your water, and it will, I guarantee it will, you have a history of clean water. You can say, hey, back in 2026, I had my water tested. Here's a copy of it. The Groundwater Conservation District has a copy of it, and the county has a copy of it. So, you messed up my water, hey, you cannot go to court. You have no standing in court unless you have a history of clean water. Now, your aquifer. Okay, your aquifers, plural, is part of the Gulf Coast Aquifer System. Right down here below us, we are within a couple of miles from the river. Right down here below us is a river underflow. Okay? When the river is high, the flow is away from the river. The underflow is nice and plump. When the river is low, then the flow is away from here and towards the river. it shows up in what looks like springs feeding the river. Okay? Below that is the Chico Aquifer. And below that is the Evangeline Aquifer. And below that is the Burkeville, Burkeville, Burkeville Clay Aquifer. Okay? Below that is the Jasper Aquifer. That's all salt. And below that, you're talking big money right there. You're getting into the Jackson Shale. And if you think the Eagle Ford Shale over west of here was a big deal, the Jackson Shale is about 25 times bigger than that. When that busts open, folks, there's going to be lots of overnight millionaires, people that have lived from cattle sale to cattle sale, from corn sale to corn sale. They're going to be buying new combines, I guarantee you. But I had to dumb this down for some very highly educated individuals on city council and commissioner's court in Victoria. Another reason they don't like me. You take that cup over there full of my favorite Dr. Pepper, okay? But there's some nasty Dr. Pepper at the bottom. At the bottom of your Evangeline Aquifer, which the city of Bay City probably taps into, is brackish water. Now, a lot of these people coming along saying, well, we're going to use this for this industrial project, this for this data center, this for this, whatever, but we're going to take it off the, we're going to take the brackish water. Okay, well, I look at that cup, and it's the same analogy. I look at that cup, I stick a straw in it, and I start drawing off the bottom. What happens to the top? Yet, because of some very highly educated engineers come along who take money from the city of Victoria or whatever entity, they say, oh yeah, you can take that brackish water. It defies common sense, yet the city of Victoria spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for them to do that study. Blows my mind. When they start taking water, when they start depleting your aquifers, you're going to have ground subsidence. Now the Galveston Groundwater Conservation District noted that at one time they put in a test well out in southern Galveston, and they built a little concrete slab around it. And everybody in here that knows Houston and the Galveston area, Harris County, they depleted their aquifer, and that little cement slab 10 years ago was 19 feet in the air. That's groundwater subsidence. That's groundwater subsidence. That's what happens when you deplete the aquifer. It also causes a weight on top of whatever nasty stuff is down there. And on some of the wells, you have stuff coming up on the side of the wells, so that they had to go in there and concrete down to try to plug some of that off. Now, if there's any roughnecks, oil field folks in here, know anything about downhole, you guys go to them. They know what they're talking about. They'll tell you what's down there. Now, also, in this state of Texas, there is in situ leach uranium exploration. We've got it over here west of you, up north of Yorktown, Goliad County. if you take a map of the state of Texas and you black out everything, everywhere where there's uranium, the whole state of Texas is black. Your water well drillers will tell you that. Now, you don't really want to, and these water well drillers will tell you that they don't want to be coming along in a few years and saying, I told you so. Because you start having groundwater subsidence, ground subsidence, and you start messing with that, especially where they've done in situ leach uranium exploration, and they use, they take the nasty water that they get back and they pump it into disposal wells. Well, what happens when groundwater subsidence, when depletion of groundwater causes subsidence? Well, what happens when some of that stuff comes back up? I have a small pecan orchard. My dad and I planted. We've got 42 trees left on our property. Each tree requires 5,000 gallons per month of water, groundwater, rainwater, water to live, to produce. Needless to say, my little 3/4 inch submersible can't supply that. So I rely on mulch, I rely on ground cover, I rely on hay, I rely on anything I can get into that soil to hold water. My dad got me involved in this because he put in all that work after retirement from Union Carbide, and he didn't expect Senate Bill 2 to come along and people coming after our groundwater. And the how do I say this nicely? No, I'm not going to say it nicely. The last idiot in the governor's office, Governor Goodhair, signed Senate Bill 2. Okay, Senate Bill 2 created these groundwater conservation districts. I'm Facebook friends with one of the guys that brought that about. And the look on his face after he did all that work, the look on his face, I didn't want to get involved in this. I didn't want to get involved in the last water fight. It looked like too much work. Well, folks, this is going to take work. This unemployed plant electrician who helped build some of the first data centers in Texas in the chemical plants. This unemployed electrician, by the grace of God, was able to stop a $1.2 billion project. Okay? Now, $1.2 billion is pocket change now. We're talking trillions and trillions of dollars that these people are investing. And will they retaliate? Well, they did me, kept me unemployed, called my bosses, did all kinds of, threatened me, did everything you could think of, tried to put me in jail, everything else. Give me a shout. Okay, I'm almost done here. But they will put up a fight. This is going to be an alley fight. It's not going to be a gentleman's fight, but it's going to be an alley fight. But like he said, you can have an alley fight and still be nice about it.
I'm going to invite Ms. Ellen Heller up for a second.
Well, I had a script written out because as my favorite commissioner cook, Precinct 1, he's my commissioner, he came tonight. he knows that I can run long when I don't have my script, and I don't have it, so I'll try to be quick. He loves cutting me off on my 3 minutes. That's what I kind of wanted to touch on tonight, is really about, if any of you have been following Erin Brockovich, one of the biggest things she came out and talked about that she's hearing from all over the nation is that people are tired of not having any transparency. That's the biggest issue. When I started in with this, Cheryl invited me in, I had no idea how Commissioners Court worked. And my emotions have been through the gamut, and I have learned a lot. And so for those of you that don't, and I don't by any means know everything now, but for those of you that don't really understand how Commissioners Court works, I want to tell you a little bit about what I've learned. When you go into a Commissioners Court meeting on Monday morning, they can listen to you speak your 3 minutes in. But by Texas law, they cannot engage in conversation with you. They are not deliberately keeping information from you in that regard, okay? A lot of people have asked me over and over, where are these projects going in at? How many are there? It is very, very difficult to find that information. You have to go to all different kinds of resources. Go to ERCOT, dig up what information you can find. It's like trying to put a puzzle together. And even to date, I really could not tell you anything about what is actually going in each physical location, except for the Buckeye Project and the Black Cat Data Center. It's been touched on tonight several times that it's important that whatever you say is accurate information. When you are learning and you are fighting in the dark because you are faced with a policy of silence, sometimes it's hard to give accurate information all the time. I realized when I went to Commissioners Court on Monday that I don't think I ever really said anything publicly about why I got involved. I have grandchildren that, thank God, are on the high end of the autism spectrum in that they can speak. But the Black Cat Data Center, and there are cited papers that talk about the low frequency noise, how far it travels, that it travels through walls. And when I heard that it was going in by a school, I mean, it really emotionally upset me, because I thought about all of the nonverbal autistic children that are going to be in the school. I'll give you an example. My 14-year-old, if I plug in an induction plate, I think everybody knows what those are, he will cry. I mean, literally cry, because of the pain in his ears. I can't hear anything. The first time he did it, you know how it is, I thought he was yanking my chain, you know, what are you talking about? But no, he was bawling, he was crying. But to get information, or you stand up in Commissioner's Court, you say your 3 minutes, and you walk away feeling like crap, because you have no clue. Did you make an impact? Is it gonna make a difference? Because there's no information out there. But like I said, they can't talk to you. You can ask your individual commissioners to come and have a town hall. I'm on the fence about that. I think that sometimes they have a town hall and, you know, they get hung up to dry, and that cannot be any fun, because I don't think they're all, you know, gonna know all the answers that we're gonna ask them. So they probably kind of take the stance of what is the point in doing it if I can't educate anybody, because it's such a big monster anyway. So one of the things that I came across this week, and what I am going to encourage our Commissioners Court to do, because I think in this county we need a change. We need more transparency when it comes to Commissioners Court. So what I learned is, while you can go on a weekly basis and you can pull the agenda and you can see what's going to be on the agenda, When you go, it's voted on, okay? A decision has already been made. Whatever it is, if you put in a public information request, God bless Jenna Fortenberry, I think we have deluged the poor girl. You don't find anything out until after the fact. I'm probably gonna butcher the spelling, but I'm just gonna give you one example because it was an easy one for me to pull up for today. In Ector County, Texas? There you go, okay. All right. Okay, wow, I'm surprised it's up there. They got so much data center stuff going on up there. But when they put their agenda out, they put every bit of the packet that goes with it online for the public to see. With our commissioners court, the commissioners have to go pick up the packet. If you have a question on an agenda that is in another precinct's problem or whatever, they're not gonna talk to you about it. It's just a cycle, and we all feel frustrated. We feel like we're not getting answers. Again, I don't think that it is intentional on the commissioner's court. I don't. I'm starting to realize the real legal parameters that they have to operate in. But we cannot make changes at the commissioner's court if all of you walk away from here tonight and stay silent.
Yes.
One of the things I am big excited about is that so many of you turned out, so many more are watching live stream. You have to take a voice. You have to make a difference. And if you don't call into commissioner's court or wherever, I really don't know where we call to request that change, they need to start posting the packet online with the agenda so that we know full well what they will be voting for on Monday. So that if you want to take ownership of a problem that you do not agree with, you get the opportunity to do so beforehand and not after the fact.
Thank you, Donna. I agree with everything that she just said. Transparency is the key. It's the key for us to work together with y'all. It's the key to keep our county the way that we need it. We need to protect our water, and we need to protect our citizens. And I want to thank everybody for being out here tonight. We're about to open up the Q&A. I want to start with our commissioner here because he needs to get to his wife.
This part here we didn't really prepare for. So if you have a question, please raise your hand, and if you don't mind coming to the center, or if you're loud like me. Yes, sir.
Me in the back? Yeah, I would like to bring a little bit of
You're
attention.
gonna have to come to the front, because I can't hear a word you're saying. No, we can't hear you. You're gonna have to come up front.
I would like to bring to attention some concerns that I have for what's been going on around the world, not just what goes on in this city. And that's the fact that there's an organized effort to infiltrate and subvert absolutely all positions of authority in the world. And that is being done by a satanic force called Freemasons. And I have all the proof to prove it.
That's not the subject tonight.
Yes, I know. The problem is they're in this room.
This
We're
is
not getting into
mine.
that.
Please don't contradict the whole conversation this woman just had.
Look, I agree with you, honey, but this is
We're gonna
here
have
for
to-
The
our
problem
county.
is they're in this room. You cannot fix
I
a
didn't say
problem
it's not.
when
I didn't
those
say
who are
it's not.
perpetrating the problem are not removed from the positions of
Do you want-
power
I'll
that
talk
they are
with
in.
you. Do you want to talk with me?
You want to shut me down
No, I'm
because
not.
you don't want me to tell the truth to the people.
Come on, I'm not trying to shut
Martin Luther King, when you cut a man's tongue off, you only prove that you fear what he might say.
We're not
This
trying
town
to
has
shut down.
wronged me. You don't even know.
That's happened to you.
And I'm being wronged again because they are literally contradicting. I'm getting my stuff, sir. They are contradicting themselves and their own words by sending me out.
Right this way. Thank you for getting your stuff.
I'm not trying to shut you down. I'm not.
I'm not, genuinely. I am not.
No, the fact that y'all shut me down the moment I say Freemason, look
honey,
at their
that's not
face.
wrong.
Look at his face.
Hey,
You look okay. He looks okay. This
that's not
guy.
what it's about, sweetheart.
It's just not what the
This
meeting's
is not
about,
what
that's
it's
all.
for.
No, it is. When there is a satanic force controlling every city in the world, and I can prove it.
It's just the wrong place for that.
No, it is not. It is the right place for it whenever it is in public to bring it up to everybody.
I paid for
This is what Jesus
okay?
Christ told us to do.
Sweetie,
It is to
I appreciate
expose
what
the
you're
Satanists that rule this world.
It's a private
And that is what I
event,
will
and
do.
They don't want to have that discussion here.
And if people want to try and come after me, I'm going to say the same thing that they said in the Star Wars movie.
right,
You
did-
take me out, you're going to make me more powerful than I ever would have been with my voice being spoken.
Did you drive or did you ride your board here?
It doesn't matter. Don't worry about my trip. I am 34 years old. You don't need to matter.
Again, I'm asking you to leave.
I am going to leave, but I am exposing every single one of you.
That's
And I
fine.
bet anything,
You can
you're
expose me
Masons.
on the way
She's
to the
probably an
gate.
Eastern Star Witch.
To the
You
gate.
think people don't know who you people are?
To the gate.
You've been exposed by the
gate.
thousands every single day. And I will be posting all of this.